Welcome to the Rustic Garden. Today I want to show you how to care for determinate variety tomatoes. And the determinate varieties basically get to a determined height, they stop growing, set flowers, and then they produce fruit and then they die off. And they're great plants if you have an area where diseases come in, maybe late in the summer. Go ahead and grow some determinate plants because they usually produce before the diseases roll in. They're great for small gardens, they're great for containers. But today I just wanted to show you how to care for them because I get a lot of questions around pruning. Indeterminate tomatoes, the ones that grow really tall and keep growing, you do a lot more pruning. So I'm going to show you the basic feeding, the basic pruning, the basic staking, and then you just let these go until the fruits produce and then remove them when they die back. So these tomatoes were started as transplants and they grew about 4 to 6 weeks on my deck actually and a little bit indoors, and then they came out here. They've been out here for 4 weeks and you can see they're starting to fall over. This is the Floridade, this is the Ace 55. This is set up for heat and disease tolerance, and this is set up for a low acid tomato. They're going to get not more than 4 feet. So the first thing you want to do is drop a stake in there. Come out about 6 inches from the stem because you don't want to get too close and shear off a whole root system. You can go ahead and put it out there. We're going to tie it off to the stakes. All you really need is about a 4-foot stake for determinate type tomatoes. So when I planted this in the ground, just to give you some background, I dug out the hole, I put in 2 tablespoons of organic fertilizer, watered it in with fish emulsion. We're going to give it one more feeding and then let it go. I'm going to show you how to do that too. So for the pruning, you're just going to take off some of the bottom. You're not going to come up into the joints and take out the suckers really above about this far. That's about 4 to 6 inches. Let everything grow up here because you want the maximum amount of flowers and fruit to form. So I'm just taking off some of the bottom growth to help manage disease, let air circulate under there. I also put down wood mulch that helps conserve water in the ground, and it also stops spores from splashing up onto your plant leaves. And usually disease-borne or dirt-borne spores will splash up from your soil, from your dirt onto the bottom leaves and work their way up. So basic twine, tie it off to the pole. You don't want to tie it tight and smash it against the pole. Give it a good 1-inch circle to rest in. And that's all you really need to do to stake it. Now, because you're not pruning out any of the suckers, you're going to have a lot of production stems. That's where you get a leaf, flowers. You may have to tie more than one stem to the pole just to support it. Again, nice and loose, and we're going to tie the second stem right off to here. And you can loop it around the pole if you need to give it a little bit of a grip so it doesn't slide down the pole, and that's perfectly fine. My finger can fit right into the looped twine right there. That's enough space for your tomato. And then I would look where the leaves are hanging down, cut them away. I'm just making a nice gap between the mulch and the plant, and this will start growing straight up the pole. Same thing over here, cut off about the bottom 4 inches. Now, if your plant's only this tall, don't cut off 6 inches. When it gets, to over a foot, take off a couple of leaves, and you can slowly prune up the bottom. Again, we would take off that, maybe that one, and that's a nice gap here to help prevent spores from splashing up, and it will let air circulate through. Let me tie that one off real quick too. So this was fed to start when I transplanted it with the 2 tablespoons of organic fertilizer, and you can use any organic fertilizer. Try and stay around the 5-5-5. So now that it's been growing, what is that, 18 inches tall maybe, I just take about 2 tablespoons of organic fertilizer. This is a 3-4-4. Try and stay around the 5-5-5. That's 5-5-5 nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and that's just going to go on the top. When it rains and everything, that will get washed into the soil and will feed the plant. The other thing that you want to do, you don't have to, but the Determinate variety tomatoes produce a lot of tomatoes. Sometimes they get blossom end rot due to a lack of calcium in the soil. A lot of times that's due to inconsistent watering, and it causes a problem. But inconsistent watering, lack of calcium, or inconsistent watering, and then the plant root system gets damaged and it can't grab the calcium, causes the bottom of your fruit to get blossom end rot. So again, about a tablespoon around the base of the plant, and this is gypsum. This gypsum won't change the pH of your soil, but it will add calcium. If you use lime, it will add calcium, and it could change the pH of your soil, but you really need a lot of it. I'm going to do just a little bit more. So you want about 2 or 3 tablespoons of gypsum or lime sprinkled around the top. So every time it rains, calcium would get to your plant. The 555 or less organic fertilizer will get to your plant. And this just sets it up for its final growth. After this, you don't need to worry about it. You've given it lime, calcium, gypsum, calcium, the 555 insoluble fertilizer. And let me just explain that real quick. A lot of fertilizer is insoluble, which means the plant can't use it right away. So much of what you buy in a granular form is insoluble, which all it means is you got to put it in the ground. Soil biology breaks it down. As the soil biology breaks down the fertilizer, it makes the N, the P, and the K, the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, available to your plant. Well, we're also going to hit this with a water-soluble fertilizer, and I will put a link in the video that explains that more. And a water-soluble fertilizer is fish emulsion. That's a 5-1-1 fertilizer. And you just mix it as the instructions tell you. You don't have to soak your leaf if you're concerned it will cause disease, but I know this will dry in time. So this is a water-soluble form of NP and K, which means the plant can use it right away. So I've given these 2 plants everything that they need to finish growing, to set their flowers, to set their fruit, to mature, and do everything. You don't need to feed these anymore. So this is how you would set up your Determinate tomatoes after about 18 inches of growth. Quick feed, some lime, some calcium, some gypsum, some fish emulsion, tie them up so that they have support. Take out some leaves from the bottom so you got nice air circulation through there. That helps keep diseases down. And you can put a wood mulch down too to help retain moisture. Hope this gives you an idea of how to manage your Determinate varieties. No more pruning is needed. Just tie the plant up as you go, and you'll be done. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please check out my seed and garden shop at www.therestedgarden.com. Thanks.